Hey everyone, Tony D and Little Joan here with a hot take on government censorship and government overreach. I guess it would be one big classification. I know Joan hates that, but she's got a bone and she loves that bone. You eat it up. Facebook needs to be brought to heel and made to pay for UK news. Head of Britain's Digital Culture and Media Committee says as Australian blackout prompts huge backlash. Right. I almost said bark. Because you barked. So, on the one hand, Facebook has gotten so powerful that it does need to be brought to heel. On the other hand, unfortunately, politicians' solutions for that is, oh, the problem is they have too much power. Well, give it to me. And that's generally what the legislation ends up being, unfortunately, when they could do something very easily. Now, this is the UK. They don't have the same sort of rights that we have. But, for instance, the easy thing in the States would be to reform Section 230 and tell American companies that they have to abide by the Constitution if they want any sort of government protection whatsoever. Otherwise, they can be sued. See, they're immune to being sued because they're considered a platform. That was meant for, small companies in the early days of the internet. Now these guys are billionaires and they still want to be free to basically not follow the... Do you want to go back? Not follow the spirit of 230. So... Unfortunately, I think this is the European way of doing things, so they'll pass a bunch of regulation, and then they'll take Facebook to court, and they'll probably win some money early on, and then waste a bunch of money because they'll be in court, and Facebook has tons of money to fight them in court. So, it's not the way to fix things. Not the way to fix things. The thing is not to battle it out for the power. It's to say that the power should be in no one's hands to edit communication. California court sides with Twitter in Meghan Murphy lawsuit, who was banned for saying, I don't even know if I could say this on YouTube, but I'm quoting, women aren't men. And if you're tired of cancel culture and censorship, subscribe to Reclaim the Net. And this is from reclaimthenet.org. It's been almost 2.5 years since Meghan Murphy announced she would sue Twitter for permanently banning her account after she tweeted "women aren't men" and other declarations referring to scientific facts about biological difference of women and men. This journalist and feminist went on to file her lawsuit in February 2019. In the YouTube video announcing it, she spelled out a policy that would, in the intervening years, become a runway train of censorship. Twitter has become silencing individuals and political views they don't want heard, Murphy said in November 2018. Yeah, pretty much. And now a court of appeals in California has ruled that Twitter was right to ban her account. As it often does, the legal battle between tech and social media giants and their censored users came down to the Communications Decency Act, Section 230, that provides the former with broad, almost impenetrable protections while disenfranchising the latter's freedom of speech. And there's a link to the ruling if you understand those things. It's too much for me. I bet Rakita Law his law splaining channel will have a good piece on this. Hopefully she can appeal it up the chain, maybe get to the Supreme Court and get some sort of satisfaction. I don't know. It's because of that, it's the law that's the problem, and forget about the Democrats reforming it. I mean, they love the censorship because they're not being censored yet. Montana bill would designate Antifa as domestic terrorist organization. Ooh. Bill's sponsor, Rep. Braxton Mitchell of Columbia Falls, told a committee that Montana's designation would allow law enforcement to look into those suspected of Antifa activity. Do it! We have that law in New Jersey, and we had very few riots statewide during the George Floyd thing. We only had one relatively small one in Atlantic City. And I don't think there was even any fires or anything like that. No one was killed. There was a bit of looting from these gigantic stores that they have in AC. But beyond that, back in the 60s and 70s, don't ruin your sign, Joan. Back in the 60s and 70s, there were all sorts of riots in Newark and Jersey City and places like that. And I think the Antifa law in New Jersey, here, you want to come back? Okay. Saved us. Saved us. I'm just keeping you here for the rest of the video, okay? All right, you be good? All right. Joan doesn't like Antifa. No. Cops block hungry Portlanders from scrambling for discarded food. Northeast Poland Fred Meyer Hypermart, is that what it's called? Threw out thousands of perishable items on Tuesday because it suffered a power loss due to a winter storm. Images of the food quickly spread on social media as working poor folks stormed the dumpster. Shortly thereafter, a store manager called the cops, which prevented the hungry people from taking free food. I don't know how I feel about this, but yeah, and the problem is these stores can be liable if someone gets sick, even though they threw out the food, is my understanding. I was doing a comedy article for comedy.com about eating on like $1 a day or something like that. And one of the parts of the article was about dumpster diving. So I had heard Trader Joe's was good for that, and I went over there, but I couldn't get at the dumpster really. I kind of chickened out. But then I saw Starbucks, and I remembered one time I went in there, and they were getting rid of the expired food, and they just gave it away. So I went in there to do that, and one time they gave it away to me, but that time they said they're not allowed to do that anymore because they could get sued if someone ate it and got sick, I guess. So, so it seems unfair, right? It's the food is probably okay, and yeah, some people might get sick depending on the item, but isn't that their risk to take? I mean, if you're that hungry to go dumpster diving, I had a friend who did it all the time, and he was healthy as a horse. Seriously, he would take bagels out of the trash. It was gross, but he ate them. I had dinner at his house, and then realized halfway through the meal, he had made the food out of some food he had gotten off a stoop in Philadelphia that was supposed to be for homeless guys. But he was almost homeless, so that counted. And I was halfway through the meal before I realized that, and then I said, well, I'm halfway through the meal now. But, so, like, you're probably not going to die, odds are, but you could get sick, so what? I mean, people get sick on food they got out of the supermarket. It just goes bad, and it's just a bad luck, Something was on the truck, thawed out too quickly or whatever. It was near something. And, it's a shame. Especially since Portland's in a bad way. Now, some of these people were probably Antifa. And I know that because they're big on doing this kind of stuff, right? They're big on living in the streets, although some of them are trust fund babies. The ones that get cut off and the ones living on the street and the ones that are homeless that Antifa recruits probably were there too. So kind of doesn't surprise me that the cops would say, F these guys. Let's enforce the rules. So apparently there was a mountain of cheese and meats and juice and all sorts of food stacked on to the brim of a dumpster. Crazy. I wonder if they got a picture. I'm clicking on the full article. And there it is. Oh, wow. Yeah, look at all that food. And it's probably just sitting on top of other food they threw out. There's probably nothing wrong with it. But they do run a risk, because if the rats get to it, even if the rats just nibbled on it a little bit and then ran away, you could get something if you're not careful. Now, obviously, if you check out the package and wash it off and really carefully examine it, and it's all sealed up, you're probably okay. I'm not a huge proponent of dumpster diving. I'm more of a, buy the high-end foods kind of thing. But I think there should be some mechanism for these stores when they have to throw out food to give it away. It's really a sin to waste food like this. We have so much food in this country, and so many people. It's not like they're starving to death, but they're hungry. So next time, what really should happen is there should be some law or something that these guys could just announce we're giving away food, and then pile it all up on a table and give it away to people and have like a tax write-off or something. That to me seemed like a fair deal. There's some steak there. Wow, it's a lot of food. Look at that. See, it's all sealed up. There's nothing wrong with that. All these things look pretty sealed. So, plus it's wintertime. There's snow on the ground. It's cold. It's like being in the fridge. That's a shame. High school football coach terminated for questioning BLM curriculum. We talked about this yesterday. It looks like, I don't think he was terminated yet, but it looks like he has been terminated. So there's a lawsuit there. Yep. Lawsuit against the district superintendent. And who this cost? It doesn't cost the school anything. It's the people who pay the taxes, dummies. So even if you support critical race theory or BLM in the curriculum, look at what you're doing by having intolerant people, administrators, intolerant of views. So you're allowed to question curriculum. You're just allowed to. Doesn't matter what it is. It's not racist to say BLM is a total train wreck of an organization from top to bottom, and it's run by a bunch of idiot Marxists, in my view. All right. You gonna sit there now? Sit nice. Oh, you're coming back. What? All right. I gotta finish this video. I'm not putting you back now. The 22-year-old men are arrested on suspicion of hate crimes after filming themselves urinating on a mural of George Floyd in Manchester. Again, this is the UK, so this isn't quite the same as it would be here. Look, I wouldn't do that. It's kind of gross for a lot of reasons. But at the same time, it's a hate crime. That's elevating it to a level that it's just not there. You guys peeing in public, yeah, you arrest them, throw them a fine or whatever, tell them not to do it again. But would this be any different if Antifa did it to? I mean, Antifa was toppling over statues in the UK. They didn't even arrest anybody, really, not that I saw. So this seems blown out of proportion already. West Palm Beach cop harasses woman at her house over Facebook remark. And this is really frightening because we've seen videos in the UK and Australia of cops coming to people's houses over Facebook posts. And here we go. In the United States, we got cops coming to your house over Facebook posts. And they surveilled the conversation. Don't you guys have anything better to do in Florida? I'm sure there's no crime in Florida that you have time to police Facebook. And what it is, it's the lazy man's version of police work. This is not police work. Okay? And I saw the post. Let's see if they have a transcript of it. Yeah, the transcript, if you dig it out, Summit News had a piece on this too. It was just her talking to her friends. It wasn't a threat of any direct action. It was a response to her friend. And these guys don't have any business wasting taxpayer money doing this. This is going to be a lawsuit, and they're going to lose. They're going to lose. And again, who loses? Well, the taxpayer. The taxpayer has to pay for dumb maneuvers like this. And what is it even for? Someone posts something on Facebook. Who cares? Who cares? It wasn't a direct threat to do anything. And even if you construed it as a direct threat, all she talked about was throwing face mask on a county official's lawn. Hardly a threat. Hardly. Even if you took that part of it seriously, which it wasn't a serious threat. Anyone with two eyes could have seen that. I hope the judge, treats this appropriately and, punishes the cops. They shouldn't lose their job. Obviously, it's not that bad, but they should be punished in some way. They should be, annoyed, at least to the point where they go, "Ugh, I'm never doing that again." And really, it's the people behind the scenes probably driving this. Probably the county official, probably somebody in the upper echelons of the local government there, because that's where it always comes from. These people think the cops are their personal, not thugs, but personal guys who fix things. And they send cops out, and cops, generally, they'll just do it. But they should refuse. Unfortunately, if you refuse, sometimes that can put your career in jeopardy. So I understand why they don't refuse to do that. Or why they generally don't refuse. It starts with fixing a parking ticket and goes up from there. So that's the status of governments and their overreach. Not great. Not great. We have to be vigilant. So, it's important to participate in your local government, or at least know what the heck is going on, so you don't get surprised by this stuff. And I urge you again, if you got a kid in school, to go to school board meetings. Like, I don't have a kid, so me going would be weird. But if you got a kid, you should be going to school board meetings, and you should be watching for critical race theory, BLM, any of that stuff. And don't take it lightly, because it's not just some light and airy MLK kind of thing. This is Marxism. This is, really serious stuff. They want to radicalize kids before they even get out of grade school. So don't take it lightly. Don't let them teach it. It's racist, in my view. And, get involved with your local politics before you're surprised.